When Lily told me we should just be friends, she said it softly, like she was easing a blade into my chest with the politeness of a whisper. We were sitting across from each other in the same coffee shop where we'd had our first date, same table by the window, same faint smell of cinnamon and burnt espresso in the air, but everything felt colder now. Her hands were wrapped around her cup, fingers trembling just enough to betray her calm act. "You're amazing, Daniel," she said, eyes darting anywhere but mine, "but I think we're just better as friends." I could have fought it. I could have asked why, begged for another chance, demanded an explanation for the months of warmth that suddenly froze into this moment. But I didn't. I smiled. Not because I was okay, but because I'd already expected this. I'd seen the signs weeks ago, the late replies, the cancelled plans, the distant glances during dinners where she'd scroll through her phone like it was more interesting than the man who used to make her laugh till she cried. I'd even overheard one of her calls with her best friend Emma, where Lily had said, "I just need space, you know? He's too stable. Too nice. Maybe I need someone who makes me feel the spark again." That sentence had burned itself into my mind. Too nice. I never knew kindness could be a crime in relationships. But still, I played along. So when she delivered her gentle breakup speech that day, I just nodded and said, "You're right. Friends it is." And the way her eyes widened told me she didn't expect me to take it so easily. Maybe she thought I'd plead. Maybe she wanted tears to prove she mattered. But all I gave her was calm agreement. "I'm glad you understand," she said finally, relief washing over her face. I even smiled, stood, and hugged her. "Take care, Lily," I whispered, and walked away, leaving her sitting there, probably wondering why the goodbye she'd planned to control suddenly felt like it belonged to me. That night, I poured myself a drink, sat on the couch, and stared at the ceiling. The ache was real, of course. You don't give months of your heart to someone and not feel the hole they leave behind. But pain aside, there was something else, an odd clarity, a quiet satisfaction in letting her go without giving her the power to wound me further. Then, just as I was about to turn off my phone, it buzzed. A message. From Emma. We'd never texted before, not directly, anyway. I opened it, expecting a "Hey, sorry about you and Lily" kind of message. Instead, I froze. It read, "Finally. She's out of the way." I blinked. Read it again. Same words. No emojis, no explanation, just that simple, dangerous sentence. I stared at it for a long moment, half certain it was a mistake. Then came another. "I've waited months for her to stop pretending she didn't see what's between us." My pulse quickened. Emma had always been around, Lily's loud, confident best friend, the one who teased me endlessly, called me too perfect for her, and always hugged me just a little too long. I'd brushed it off as her being flirty, playful. But reading those words, I realized the looks she'd given me across crowded rooms weren't jokes. They were confessions. Hidden in plain sight. I typed back slowly, carefully, "Emma, what are you talking about?" 3 dots appeared, then her reply, "You know exactly what I mean, Dan. I saw how you looked at me that night at the party. You didn't look at her like that anymore." I exhaled sharply, memories flickering in my mind. The party, Lily's birthday, 2 months ago. She'd spent most of the night on her phone, laughing in the corner with some coworker, leaving me alone by the bar. Emma had come up, offered me a drink, told me not to look so abandoned. We'd talked, laughed, danced even. And for a fleeting second, when she'd leaned in to say something, our eyes had locked. There had been something there, unspoken, buried. I'd dismissed it out of guilt. Now, it was erupting through text messages at midnight. I replied, "Emma, she's your best friend." She shot back instantly. "Not anymore. Not after how she treated you. She doesn't deserve you, Dan. But I've known it for a long time." I didn't answer right away. My mind was a whirlwind of disbelief, curiosity, and something darker, temptation. There was a time I'd have rejected such a thing outright. But tonight, freshly wounded and newly single, her words hit differently. I stared at my reflection in the black screen of my phone, the faint smirk on my lips betraying what part of me already knew. I wasn't entirely surprised. Maybe Emma's message was wrong, immoral even, but it also felt like poetic justice. Still, I wanted to be sure. So I played it slow. "You're serious?" I typed. Her reply came like a spark, "Come find out." The next evening, curiosity got the better of me. I met Emma at a quiet wine bar across town, the kind of place where the lights were low and the truth came easier. When I walked in, she was already there, wearing a crimson dress that made the rest of the room fade away. "You came," she said with that familiar, mischievous smile. "I wasn't sure I should," I admitted, sitting opposite her. "Because of Lily?" she asked. Then she leaned forward, her perfume brushing against the air between us. "She made her choice. Now you can make yours." We talked for hours, about Lily, about everything that had gone wrong, about how she'd watched from the sidelines while I gave everything to someone who didn't value it. Her words were sharp, honest, and tinged with something raw. "She wanted adventure," Emma said bitterly. "And she lost a man who would have given her forever." When she reached across the table and placed her hand over mine, I didn't pull away. Maybe it was wrong. Maybe it was fate. But in that moment, it felt like the world was rearranging itself into something inevitable. By the time I walked her to her car, the air between us was heavy with unspoken intent. She turned, eyes glinting beneath the streetlight. "You know," she murmured, "she told me she thought you'd never move on." I told her she was wrong. Then she kissed me, soft at first, then deeper, as if sealing a secret neither of us could undo. I didn't stop her. When I got home, my phone buzzed again. This time, it was Lily. "Hey, just checking in. I hope you're okay. I miss talking to you already." I stared at her message, then at the faint lipstick mark on my collar from Emma's kiss. My thumbs hovered over the keyboard for a long time before I finally typed, "Sorry, Lily. I'm busy tonight, with a friend." I hit send, set the phone down, and exhaled. Because sometimes, life has its own sense of balance. She ended things thinking she was freeing herself for something better. But as it turned out, she wasn't the only one who had someone waiting in the wings. And that night, I realized, some goodbyes are just openings in disguise. Some endings are simply the start of a story the other person never saw coming.